Well, hello everyone. How's everybody doing today? Shout it out in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Doing great here. Let me catch you all up. We haven't chatted in a couple of days. Let me tell you about my escapades. So I stayed in Superior. I had a 24-hour weather delay. There was a pretty substantial, pretty dangerous mountain pass to get over the top of that mountain from Superior to Globe. You all can look at it on your Google Maps. And I was delayed due to snow and ice at the higher elevations. That was peaked out about 5,000. So the warm showers host I was staying with certainly recommended I not go that next day. And the wife of the couple is a courier in the remote parts of Arizona. Hospital systems hire couriers to transport medical supplies to remote clinics. So this was part of the deal, and sorry, I'm on Highway 70 here, so I'll catch you up as we go. So she said, look, it's also really remote through the next segment. So she drives 500 miles a day as a courier. 500, that's 10,000 miles a month. And she offered to kind of lift me to Safford, Arizona, to get through the day or so of complete remote, no services area, and drop me off in Safford. There was a little drama with that yesterday. She has 450,000 miles on her current vehicle, and they of course change the oil all the time, but I guess the most recent oil change, which was like the day before, there was a leak in the seal on the oil filter when she left at 1 in the morning to go pick up her medical supplies. She was going to pick me up on her way back. And so there was a little drama. She was adding quarts of oil, picked me up. We made it to Safford, no problem. Had to stop once to check the oil. We could smell the oil burning on the engine block. And she stopped at a Walmart, and turns out the people who had installed her oil filter didn't check the seal. I know I'm giving you a long story, but it's pretty interesting. And so they replaced the seal. I was able to retrieve my bike and trailer out of the back of her van. I was on my way from Safford. And then I spent the day yesterday, as I say, as an extra in Gunsmoke, an episode of Gunsmoke, because it was like Wild Wild West, which is kind of like what you see here. You see a lot of coming out of Duncan, which in a very endearing way is kind of like a one-horse town. Had breakfast this morning. There was a table full of ranchers, Southeast Arizona ranchers, and talking about politics and all the things that you would imagine ranchers talk about with their cattle and this and that. Stayed at a wonderful bed and breakfast. They're closed to the public, but they're open to cyclists. They're taking the opportunity for the pandemic to do renovations, and I guess they anticipate opening later this summer. But they put me up last night, and it was wonderful, like top shelf B&B, and put me on my way. So here I am on my way. I'm just rolling out, literally, for the day. My goal is to get to Lordsburg. I'm going to be in and out of this shoulder. As you can see, it's really bumpy. On my way, in about 5 miles, I'll be hitting the New Mexico border. So as you can see, 36 miles to Lordsburg coming up here on the sign. That's my goal today. However, there's a tailwind today. So we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to really kick up this afternoon again. If it pushes me, I may keep going, but we'll see. Learned my lesson. I didn't make reservations last night for tonight. So we're moving along. You see it gets really remote really quick. I don't know how long I'm going to have cell signal, to be honest with you. I went through some real rural areas last night on the way here and dropped signal. So let me also catch you up on the route. The warm showers host also, and corroborated by the bed and breakfast folks last night, highly recommend I not go over the mountain self-supported. The ACA route, adventure cycling route. Just too early in the year, and they've had such volatile weather. For those of you, and Aunt Shirley, you see her on here is Shirley. She pegged it. It was that storm Colorado that kind of dipped down. There was also a storm that came from the south, and it's dumped a lot of snow in the higher elevations. In fact, today it's in the low 40s as I roll out, and it's probably, the forecast for tomorrow morning on my rollout is in the 20s, and then it warms up. I think the next day warms up back into the 70s. So I've served some time in Texas in my time in the military. I didn't mean that to sound like I was incarcerated or anything, forgive me. Served as I was in the military in Texas, and the March can be a volatile month. That's just part of what happens with spring. You get the winds that roll through. Today they're in my favor. They could very easily switch, but if everything goes right, that's a big if, as always out here, I could be in El Paso Friday night. So that would be a big bump. A couple days ahead of schedule there. So that's the opening monologue. Got a lot of wind today, so I've got the microphone kind of covered up. Hopefully y'all can hear it. I'll start. What's that? John's in my ear again today. John, what was that? Okay, cool. So yeah. So John's gonna tell me, it's great, so great to have him back. I screwed up the weekend royally with broadcasting and picture-in-picture, and just had a lot of snafus with my technology. So as you can see, I literally have the easy part. The technology part's the hard part. So John's gonna tell me, kind of catch me up on the chat, and then I'll take questions. Good morning, Greg. Tan Bart. Good morning, Skip. Thank you, Shirley, for the encouragement. Yeah, time in Texas. West Texas is going to be long stretches. There's an estimate out there, 28 days, the route through Texas takes. The route through Texas, you go El Paso south to Del Rio, and then kind of east to Austin, and then east to East Texas, and then into Louisiana. So some say about 28 days. So I might feel incarcerated after 28 days. Although my wife's from Texas, she would clobber me if she heard me say that. So go Aggies. Hooah. All right. My goal on this journey is to prove to her that I'm not a 2%er. The Aggies out there will get that joke. Good question. Good question on local law enforcement. You know, it's great. I always thank them when I see them, and they're very friendly. Border Patrol, I stop to thank them for their service. I know, especially now, their service is very challenging, and so I make a point to try to thank them for what they're doing. Last year, when I left St. Augustine, I had an escort through or out of St. Augustine. To be honest with you, as you see from the roads here, I mean, it's literally kind of small town to small town so far, except for Phoenix, except for getting out of San Diego. But in fact, I was joking with myself when I left Mesa. I thought, wow. I stopped at a stoplight. It was towards the east side of Mesa, and I said, that's probably going to be the last stoplight I see for a long time. And sure enough, I haven't seen a stoplight in 2 days. So the climbing question today, there is a climb from here to Lordsburg. In fact, the elevation at Duncan is just a little over 3,000 feet, and I think I get up to 4,500 feet in Lordsburg. The goal today would be Lordsburg, 37 miles. I did 40 yesterday, and because I left in kind of a whirlwind, I failed to look at the elevation before I left. And I climbed from 3,000 feet up to 5,000 feet. And it was pretty chilly up there. So it wasn't steep, but it was just continuous. Oh, Tammy Bailey. Okay, cool. I got it now. All right. So the question on kind of the feed plan for riding from Tammy. Thanks for joining today. It varies. It varies on what services are available. Kind of one of my go-tos is if I am able to get to like a Circle K, convenience store. I kind of like, a small sandwich or a piece of fruit at a stop. And of course I have the usual Cliff Bars and things of that nature. If I'm camping, I have kind of the mountain, forgive me, I forget the actual full name of the product, but it's a mountain product for campers, for hikers. And you just put boiling water in there and it's fantastic. This morning I went to Hilda's, which is literally the only restaurant open in Duncan. Again, no stoplight, just a small town. Fabulous breakfast. So get a good breakfast. I can make my own coffee if I need to, and just kind of get set up for the day. But just the key here is to not overextend yourself. The main plan is, see, I'm from the East Coast, and water is like essential when you're, see all the bumps in the road, it's like speed bumps. It's like riding speed bumps every 10 feet. The humidity on the East Coast just kind of tells your body you need a drink. The danger here is because it's so dry out here, your body doesn't remind you as much to drink, so you have to be mindful to drink water, and you have to drink more of it. Otherwise you get to a point and it's too late. So water planning is really a big part of my trip each day. Try to take over a gallon with me for each day. In fact, I think I'm over layered for today because I have the tailwind and I'm already feeling the sweat. When you feel the sweat in the desert, you're probably overdressed. I put a windbreaker on because the temperature's 40s, but I've got a tailwind. So I've got a piece of farm equipment behind me that's going to catch me. Pretty cool. Thanks again to everyone for let's take care of a little business here, for your continuing support for Wounded Warrior Project. We're over $13,000 now raised thanks to your generosity, and when I get to El Paso, I've already arranged to connect with some active duty officers in the Medical Service Corps, Army Medical Service Corps. My goal is to try to do a podcast with them for our Silver Caduceus Association. If time permits, I'll also try to do a live stream. The challenge I've got is, because I get there Friday night, or planning to, I don't want to ruin their Saturday by, you know, because their commander is kind of telling them to participate. I don't want to be, hey, come spend 4 hours with me on your Saturday. So try to be respectful of their time and try to get as much as we can. Connecting with them, again, that's the goal of this trip, is to raise awareness for those affected, service members and veterans affected by the pandemic. And I just want to get some firsthand feedback and some of the great support that they have all done. Fort Bliss, Texas is one of the major hubs in the Army. They have William Beaumont Medical Center there. You've got a deployable hospital center, and just kind of want to get firsthand feedback as to the great work they've done and kind of share with the audience here. So stay tuned for that. That'll be very exciting. Thanks, Tammy. Best to Ryan. Ryan is a commander, active duty commander, 06 commander. So always great to see them. When they come escape the north, cold weather, they're always welcome in St. Augustine. I met another rider yesterday who's riding. This kid, literally a kid, just graduated high school. Hey, he lives in Montana. And he's riding solo. He had about half the equipment I've got because he's not streaming. He's just kind of maybe taking a gap year or something. And he passed me like I was standing still. But I called him a mile later because he had another flat. He said, man, I've been flatting. I looked at his bike. He was riding like a vintage early 1990s Mongoose mountain bike with, looks like Walmart tires, which will just get shredded out here. I ride gator skin Kevlar tires. But he's cooking along. There's a wide load. Wow, we've been going 30 minutes already. That's great. See, time flies when I'm chatting with you all. It gets pretty monotonous. Yesterday was pretty monotonous when I was doing the episode of Gunsmoke. Yeah, today's, again, Duncan's just a historic town. A lot of, you know, mining towns, and you all can't probably see in the distance, but today's not a cloud in the sky, just, well, there's a few, we call them cirrus clouds, you know, it's high level clouds, but just unlimited visibility. And I can feel that wind pushing me. So whatever climbing I'm going to do, hopefully will be mitigated a little bit by the tailwind. Skip's question on sun. Well, I've had skin cancer 3 times. So I am, I mean, I love my dermatologist. I'm just tired of contributing to their kids' college fund. So I take a lot of precautions. I'll wear a wide brim sun brim. They call it debrim around my helmet. And I put on sunblock every day before I ride, just to make sure it's stay protected. Sleeves, I try to wear sleeves because you get skin cancer in weird places. People always forget to put it behind their ears, and I've got Scottish descent, so very fair complected and susceptible to skin cancer. So thanks for that question. Yeah, it's kind of an optical illusion out here. When you're looking at the road, it looks flat. And then you feel like, why is it so hard to pedal? Why am I in my climbing gear? And then you kind of look at it compared to the mountains, and you're actually on a gradual climb, which is the case here. You know, out here you have just so much vast land. Your visual system plays tricks on you. You think you're traveling on flat terrain, and you're not. Same on the descents, you know, it's like, wow, I stopped pedaling. And then you realize you're descending. When I was an aviator, we had to learn all these aeromedical factors of all the different sensory systems of the body, the vestibular system, the visual acuity systems, all the tricks your mind plays on you to keep you in spatial awareness. No extra charge for that class I learned in flight school. All right, John, what else? Looks like we got a good stream today. You want to talk affiliate status, John? Thanks to everybody joining. At least we're eligible for it. We're kind of doing an analysis now, but Twitch has a kind of a subscriber levels, or based on the audience that you get new features as you kind of bump up in viewership. And we've gone to the next level in 2 weeks, from basic to affiliate. At least we're eligible for it. We're trying to do an analysis now. It sounds like that if we do the affiliate, then we're not able to do a simultaneous stream on YouTube, which seems kind of ironic, but because we're also simulcasting over on YouTube at Team Dust Off as well. So we don't want to lose that feed, because we got folks out there who want to join on that channel. I think I'm going to pull over and shed a layer, John, and I'll keep chatting, but let's see. That one's not that good. I'll go up to another one. Got to be careful. Oh, I learned a little tip yesterday. Very interesting. So kind of the question is, what do you do if you've been riding and then let's say you have kind of an emergency maintenance that takes more time than you anticipate, and then you have to camp because it gets dark. Where do you camp? And it's, you know, a lot of the property out here it's not public land, it's private or native land. And so, I mean, if you just kind of, if you look to the right here, and if I just say, well, I'm gonna go set up tent like over there behind that mound, that may be somebody's property. And you know, you could, if it's native land, then you're kind of encroaching on native territory. But what I learned is within 30 feet of this white line, because this is a US federal highway, the federal property is within 30 feet of this white line. So, such as you see here, this one's not so close on the right, but sometimes these roads cut right through rock formations. And if they cut through a rock formation and the rock formation goes high and you're up top, you can camp up top on the rock formation and be safe from traffic. And you're still within 30 feet of the white line. I learned that yesterday. Yeah. All the things you learn out here. I got an education in ranching this morning. Rural America, boy, they're great. They're out here keeping the livestock going for us, keeping the food supply going for us. We take for granted going to Publix in Florida or wherever you shop for groceries, and you kind of see the food chain, supply chain. It starts right here. When I went through Dome Valley, and yesterday, as we were driving, went through just massive cotton fields. They're dormant now. They've already harvested, and I guess they plant the day after Easter every year. That's their mark on the wall, but just miles and miles and miles and miles of cotton fields. How's the picture coming through, John? Okay. Yeah. So we've got good picture. Good. Yeah, I'm going due east, so that sun is due east. It's right, you know, coming up. Now, it's interesting. My clock hasn't changed yet. I'm expecting to hit the New Mexico border here shortly. Now, Arizona doesn't observe daylight time, so it's 9:40 daylight, or Mountain Standard Time, Arizona time. But as soon as I hit the New Mexico border, they observe daylight time. So I'm imagining I'll see that switch of the clock. And if I see the sign, I'll stop, get off, take a picture for another state checked off. Sorry, there was a truck just went by. Shirley's asking on the if I'm going to write a book. Oddly enough, I'm in the middle of one book, a fiction novel about kind of loosely about experiences I saw while I was on active duty throughout my career. My goal was to, I've got a good draft. My goal was to finish that before I started this ride, but it just crept up too fast. So that's one. I've been journaling every day about my experiences here. So kind of my goal is to maybe use the journal as a framework to write a book. But then I'd have two going. And I've got this president of Dust Off Technologies who's relentless. Doesn't give me any time to myself. I say that endearingly, of course. But I think it's important. I think it's important to tell the story of America. Kind of what real Americans do, not the coasts. This is what's really happening out here. Just good, wholesome people working hard. Well, guess what I see? See the New Mexico sign. Let's see how fast it takes for my watch to switch. My wife told me if I didn't know what time it was, just let my watch tell me. New Mexico welcomes you. All right, let's stop. Let me get a picture. Nice. Another state, folks. All right, John, anything else before I get, I can really feel it. Like I literally have a direct tailwind right now, so. I'm gonna walk up here and take off a layer because it's, another thing, you don't want to overheat too while you're riding, so. I'm gonna pull down, well, you all forgive me, I'm just gonna disconnect the trailer for a second. Because I don't want to pull it down this hill where the sign is. I'm gonna bring the bike down and lean the bike against the New Mexico sign while I shed a layer. Got to get the obligatory selfie too with the, what's the sign? I don't know. It's chilly, but it's I'm climbing. I mean, these are tough decisions, you know, you gotta. I think what I'll do is I've got a headband on, course, John's not going to like it because I've got the wind now. Nah, that's not going to work. That's too much wind. John won't hear a word I'm saying. I'm going to put it back on, John. I've got a kind of a cotton headband that helps protect from the weather, wind. All right, I need a vote from everybody. Well, that's where we've come from. I just flipped my bike around. You can kind of see some mountains back there. You can see I've been climbing. But that is a nasty, nasty wind if I had to turn around. John, can you still? Yeah. That's where I came from. I'm gonna stay suited up for now. I may, when we all stop for broadcasting, I may, but it's just windy. It's picking up, and that's what they forecasted, is that the wind would just pick up by the hour. It's wild, because as soon as I get going, it feels like it's calm, but it's the wind effect. Well, maybe we can go an hour today, John, and get credit. As long as we're still getting... See, we've kind of dropped out. We got dropped down on viewers, but... I mean, it's wild. Like, when I stopped, my body temperature, I felt it immediately because the wind like cut through my windbreaker. When I started pedaling again, it was like, feels like I'm riding in calm. The wind is pushing me. Well, my watch hasn't picked up a time yet. Kind of have to weave in and out of these rumble strips too on the right side of the white line. Talked to a couple of campers who come down from the north, and they're kind of freaked out too because it's cold. They left Michigan, Wisconsin, and they're like, man, it's cold out here. But I enjoy it. I don't mind this weather at all. This is actually good riding weather. I'll take this over rain any day. Kind of my threshold for riding cold weather is anything below 40 gets kind of sketchy, especially if there's wind, because then, if you would imagine, you get the wind chill factor when you're riding. So you get the wind with the cold temperatures, and your extremities get cold much faster. Hands and feet. You can keep your core pretty much warm, but the hardest thing is to keep your feet warm when you're riding. I used to commute in DC all the time. I would ride like 9 miles in the morning, and then had to add on, like, I do 20 miles going home. And I would get, one day I got to work after 9 miles, and both my water bottles were frozen. The water had frozen in the water bottles. But 9 miles was kind of my threshold that day. It was cold. I don't mind riding in the shoulder lane normally, but if the pavement is, as you see, buckled here, then it's like riding speed bumps. And obviously they don't sweep it, so there's just a lot of debris. I've found everything over there. You know, all the parts, car parts that come flying off, glass, lots of glass, nails, all the hazards that can create a flat. So you gotta stay. Oh, this is nice compared to yesterday. Yesterday was tons worse. So I don't mind hopping over here, especially if I see an 18-wheeler in the background. But yesterday I was going down a hill, and I was probably hitting speeds of 35 miles an hour, and had an 18-wheeler flying off the hill, and I had to kind of hit the brakes and come over to the bike lane. And I mean, it was, picture going through your most annoying neighborhood that has speed bumps in your car, and that's what it was like. Boy, it got real remote real quick, didn't it, folks? Yeah. Appreciate the encouraging words, Shirley. Getting a lot of text messages. I'm getting emails, social media messages. Definitely means a lot. I mean, I've been riding, well, today 2 weeks in 1 day, and it's you're definitely in the grind out here now. As the old cliche, the honeymoon period is worn off. Now it's down to business and staying focused on the end game, and enjoying the cause at the same time, keeping a positive attitude. I talked about it in the first week that you don't want to let any of the highs get you too high, because the lows are right there waiting around the corner for you. So you want to stay kind of level. And Sunday and yesterday were kind of those days. It was kind of punishing conditions at the same time as circumstances and weather, and you just want to stay, keep a positive attitude. So yeah, this is easy riding now with the tailwind. We call these days no chain days. It's like riding with no chain. Just going out and spinning the pedals, and it doesn't feel like a lot of exertion. Yesterday was different. Yesterday was put a lot of effort in, but I felt great after that night's sleep. Stayed with that couple in their bed and breakfast, and interesting. I'm looking over to the right. You wouldn't see it in the camera, but I'm looking at what appears to be kind of a sandstorm, because if you get these kind of winds, the sands will kick up, and it's kind of obscuring visibility. We had those in Iraq. The native term for that is shamal. I think they have a different term for it here. But that sand really kicks up and obscures visibility, then you obviously get into a situation where you have to stop. So far, it doesn't appear to be affecting where I'm going, but it's just interesting. I remember my first combat tour in Iraq, we had a lot of them because it was about this time of year, February, and it really affected combat operations, especially for aviation, and the visibility was down to near zero. Yeah, question about VFW. I was not able to, for a variety of reasons, shortly after that walk, even though it was a rest day, my body was kind of shutting down and I had to get some food, and so I ended up having an extended lunch, and then it started getting late and I wanted to coordinate the Monday plan with my warm showers host. So just kind of fell out of time. It was just like your body speaks to you, and I needed to get some food in, and at that point it just kind of was overcome by events that day. I kind of wish it would have worked out. In retrospect, I should have probably gone there and not done the video, but I wanted to share the video. I'm going to take a wide sweeping turn here. Maybe you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with I take a gradual turn to the right. Kind of see the sand, what looks like sandstorm out in the distance. Let me try to do it again. To the right, it's kind of hard to see. I'm sure it's way out there. Probably 5-6 miles out there. Off to the left, it's clear as a bell. Well, John, we got a couple of minutes. I guess I'll wrap up for today. So today we started at Duncan. The goal is to finish in Lordsburg. And if I can finish in Lordsburg, that'll be a good day. The bed and breakfast hosts recommended an alternate route that would go south to Route 9, which would be basically right along the southern border. There's a town there after Lordsburg called Hachita, but there's literally nothing there. The reason they recommended it, though, is a guy owns a ranch called I guess the Cycling Ranch or something, and he hosts mountain bikers and cyclists of all kinds, and he has an academy there, I guess. And they gave me his contact info. I reached out, but he's out of pocket this week, so there would be really nothing there. So I think I'm going to take the interstate to Deming after Lordsburg. I may go south from there to a town called Columbus, and then ride the border into El Paso. So we'll see what that looks like the next couple of days. The challenge with that route is there'd be no streaming at all. I'm told the cell phone coverage there is pretty minimal. That might be my convenient escape from Matt, though. If I can just get my cell phone to stop working. Then El Paso, I'm looking to stay on the at Fort Bliss on the Army base there. So that's the next couple of days. As I said, we've reached our $13,000 milestone, so appreciate all the participation. I anticipate having some more corporate bumps here in the next week or so. They're all working through their legal, making sure there's no conflicts of interest, and all the private donors, you know, you don't have to worry about it, but businesses have to get legal review on contributions to nonprofits, so it takes time. And then, so that's it. I'm not sure what tomorrow will look like from a streaming perspective. It all depends on kind of what happens today. Temperature tomorrow, start time tomorrow. If I go from Lordsburg to Deming tomorrow, that's a 60-mile trip. And so that's probably 7-8 hours on the bike on the interstate. So that may be a, hey, I gotta focus kind of day, but I wanted to try to get this in out of the gate today so you all can get a sense of what the rural America looks like out here now in New Mexico. So we'll wrap it up, John. I think we're over an hour.